The NATO training facility in Poland buzzed with activity as soldiers from 12 different countries prepared for joint tactical exercises. Captain Alina Volkov stood near the equipment tent, her blonde hair tied back in a regulation bun, checking inventory lists on her tablet. At 32, she'd learned to navigate the complicated politics of international military cooperation, where egos often clashed harder than any enemy force. A group of American soldiers walked past, their voices loud with the confidence of men who'd never questioned their place in the world. One of them, a broad-shouldered specialist with a thick Boston accent, noticed Alina and elbowed his buddy. "Hey, check it out. They're letting the admin girls play soldier now." Before we continue, if you've ever had to prove yourself against impossible odds, hit that like button right now. What happens next will give you absolute chills. Alina didn't look up. She'd heard variations of this her entire career, first in the Russian military, then after her asylum request brought her to the American side. The specialist moved closer, his tone mocking. "Yo, sweetheart, you know this is a combat training exercise, right? The yoga class is probably somewhere else." His friends laughed, their arrogance filling the space between them. Alina turned slowly, her ice blue eyes meeting his with the kind of calm that comes from staring down far worse threats. "I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be," she said quietly, her slight accent adding weight to each word. "Perhaps you should focus on your own assignment." The specialist grinned, taking her composed response as weakness. "Oh, she's got an attitude. Cute." He looked back at his friends. "What do you think, boys? Should we tell the CO they sent us a secretary by mistake?" What none of them knew was that Alina had removed her jacket earlier because of the afternoon heat. What none of them could see was the tattoo that covered most of her back, hidden beneath her tan undershirt. A ghost hawk in mid-flight, its wings spread wide, talons extended, rendered in such intricate detail that it looked ready to tear through her skin and take flight, and beneath it, in letters that had been earned through blood and missions that officially never happened, a single designation that made hardened operators go quiet with respect. The commotion attracted Commander Richard Hayes, a 20-year SEAL veteran coordinating the American contingent. He approached with purposeful stride, his weathered face set in lines of authority. "What's going on here?" His voice cut through the laughter like a blade. The specialist straightened suddenly. "Just talking to this admin officer, sir, seeing if she needed directions." Commander Hayes' eyes moved to Alina, and something in his expression shifted. Recognition flickered across his features, followed immediately by something that looked like disbelief. "Captain Volkov." His voice had changed, the authority now mixed with uncertainty, maybe even fear. Alina nodded once. The specialist looked between them, confused by the sudden change in atmosphere. Commander Hayes took a step closer, his eyes searching her face as if confirming something he couldn't quite believe. "I need to verify something," he said quietly. "May I?" Alina understood immediately. She turned around and lifted the back of her shirt, revealing the ghost hawk in all its terrible beauty. The commander's face went pale. His hands actually trembled as he read the designation beneath the wings. The specialist and his friends had gone completely silent. "If you're loving this, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Trust me, you need to hear the rest of this." "Sweet Mother of God," Commander Hayes whispered, his voice shaking. He stepped back as if he'd touched something sacred and dangerous. When he spoke again, his voice carried across the entire equipment area. "Do you men have any idea who you're talking to?" The specialist swallowed hard. "No, sir." Commander Hayes turned to face them, his expression harder than stone. "This is Captain Alina Volkov, Calcine Ghost Hawk, former Russian Spetsnaz, turned CIA asset, now contracted to NATO Special Operations. That tattoo on her back. It's not decoration, it's a record. Every feather represents a mission. I count 47 operations so classified, so dangerous, that they sent someone who officially doesn't exist." He moved closer to the specialist, his voice dropping to something cold and precise. 3 years ago in Syria, when our entire SEAL team was pinned down by enemy fire and we thought we were done, it was Ghost Hawk who came through that building like vengeance itself and pulled us out. She took 2 bullets doing it, and still carried our wounded pointman 3 clicks to the extraction zone. The commander's hands were still shaking, and Alina could see the memory playing behind his eyes. "I owe my life to this woman. So do 7 other men who are home with their families right now because she didn't leave anyone behind." He turned back to Alina, his voice softening with genuine respect. "I didn't know you were on this operation, Captain. It's an honor to serve alongside you again." Alina lowered her shirt and turned around, her expression calm but now holding a trace of warmth. "The honor is mine, Commander. Your team did good work that day. All I did was my job." The specialist looked like he wanted to disappear into the Polish soil. He attempted to speak, his voice cracking. "Ma'am, I'm sorry. I didn't know." Alina held up a hand, stopping him. "You didn't know because you weren't supposed to. But let this be your lesson, soldier. In our world, the most dangerous operators are often the ones who don't need to announce themselves. We let our work speak." She picked up her tablet, returning to her inventory as if nothing had happened. Commander Hayes dismissed the soldiers with a look that promised additional consequences later. As they hurried away, Alina heard their whispered conversations, the tone completely different now. Awe instead of mockery, fear instead of disrespect. This story reminds us that true warriors don't need to announce their presence or demand recognition. They move through the world carrying their accomplishments quietly, letting their actions echo louder than any words ever could. Alina didn't need those soldiers to know her story, but their mistake became their teacher. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to remember that strength comes in many forms, and the most powerful people are often the ones who stay silent until the moment demands they speak. Drop a comment about a time when you witnessed someone being underestimated, and remember that every person you meet is carrying a story you know nothing about. Treat everyone with respect, because you never know when you might be standing in front of a ghost hawk. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.